your source for what they don't want you to know. This time, we're turning our focus back on the media to look at my former employer, the GBB. As we know, the broadcasting has been through a lot of changes since the Hassani government gave in to pressure from its corporate backers and privatised the corporation. Today, the GBB is a shadow of its former self. It's become a tool used by the government to circulate fake news and misinformation. So how did we get here? Where did it all go wrong? How can we tell when our national media has become state propaganda? Our experts speak on conditions of anonymity for their own safety. Here's disinformation and media expert Charles, who's seen
Auto drive now disabled,
built up by journalists and torn down by demagogues all over the world.
Auto drive now enabled.
So before the media fragmented, there was this voice of authority that was trusted and worthy of trust. Then what we ended up with is a really commercial model where whether you're talking about an app on a smart device or whether you're talking about a broadcaster, the most important thing was to keep you in that environment for the longest amount of time possible, because that meant money in their pocket. And in order to do that, a couple of things happened. One, favors sensationalism. And so you've got more sensational headlines and more sensational stories.
Unauthorized drone access near you. Be on alert.
Received. Responding to the situation now. Drones are on their way to the suspect. Negative. No vision of the suspect. Terminating pursuit and coming back.
This is a highly placed Albion informant, or as they're called in America, a narc. And if there's one thing I know about the people of London, it's that they always like to see a rat get his comeuppance. Good on you.
Thanks.
Going for a look. Yeah, I'm gonna move in for a peep. I'll have a look. Find that fucker. Huh, no one. I'll look this way. You out, kicking and screaming.
Someone's hacked that door.
Careful.
Oh, shit! Gotta tell him the bus!
Doors don't just do that. We've got an intruder.
Detected strange drone activity near your location, over.
Monitoring for unusual activity.
What a fuck up.
Negative. No sign of the target yet.
Returning to HQ. Search terminated.
Reported in your area, potentially armed and hostile. Responding to the call. Over.
Immobilizing the suspect.
Viral story. And how do you counter that story? With the truth. The only way you can counter it is by saying, no, they didn't. And of
Auto
course,
drive
no
now
one wants to
enabled.
spread that story. No one wants to hear that story. They want to hear the sensationalism. They want to hear how people were victims of
Force them
violence.
to a
In
stop.
fact, they were. Or they were victims
Control,
of
we
insurgent
have a visual on the
forces.
suspect.
In fact, they were.
The news isn't neutral, it's a battleground. Here's media researcher and academic Alfie.
Auto drive now disabled.
Media has, of course, been perhaps the key way in which governments have controlled and influenced their populations. So, totalitarian countries have typically used huge mainstream media.
Any other
to sell
patrols
one
have eyes on the
kind of
suspect,
news,
over?
one kind of bias news to its population. Of course, the media has always played this kind of key role in the methods of state control. I think what's happening now is perhaps even more concerning, where you previously, in pre-crisis Britain, we had perhaps more diverse voices in the media, but now with the GBB, you're really only seeing one brand of news, and therefore only getting one truth. So people end up with a very biased and controlled idea of the reality and the world that we're actually living in. There was, of course, many concerns. And then left-wing media outlets developing to combat those and kind of challenge the mainstream
Auto drive now
newspapers,
enabled.
TV stations, radios, and make sure people were questioning the validity and truth of the information they were receiving. So whilst there was the digital afforded more fake information, it also makes us suspicious and skeptical of information and makes us question the information we're getting. And I think in pre-crisis Britain it might not have seemed great at the time, but there was something positive about that there was a lot of distrust in the media and in the different kinds of truths that were being told. Whereas now I think you're seeing a return to a more traditional and older pre-digital sense, actually, of people just trusting what they're told, and that's why we have to be here with radio stations like this to challenge those conceptions. Most citizens feel pretty hopeless, I think, and unable to fight back against these kind of huge mainstream corporations that simply entrench and support the ideals and ideologies of the state. It can seem very hopeless indeed, but I think the fact that you're out there listening, we're in here talking, shows that there is still a space to combat these false truths and disinformation that's being sold to us, and that it's never possible really to. Completely shut down, despite all the technologies that they have at their disposal and all the financial and corporate power and all the physical power, it's never quite possible to shut down people's desire to get to the truth and fight for their own ideologies and values. And you know, we're out here starting that task, so don't give up hope.
You've been listening to Buccaneer with me, Tash. We'll be back soon with more of what you'll never
Auto
hear.
drive now disabled.
Keep listening, keep sharing, and keep resisting.
You're listening to The Bug.
May cause nausea, vomiting and headaches. You're listening to The Bug, the Resistance comedy show brought to you by the Buccaneer Network. I'm Andy. Joining me, as always, Alice.
Auto drive now
I'm
enabled.
excited to be here. Apparently, the Resistance is not going well.
Again?
Auto drive now
Well,
disabled.
there has been some news about DedSec, the resistance and/or terrorist organisation. Delete according to preference. Not preference, sorry. Delete according to whether or not you work for the government.
Auto drive now enabled.
Or Albion. According to a CERS official, DedSec is no longer a threat. Which I guess is true in that it was never a threat in the first place. Reminds me of when my great aunt Gladys had her appendix out. Oh, Andy, that surgeon's a real threat, waggling that knife at me, trying to knock me out.
Auto drive now
Put a
enabled.
scalpel and an anaesthetic, Gladys. Anyway, if CERS officials say DedSec is dead and buried, I guess we have
Auto
to assume
drive
that,
now
DedSec's
disabled.
never been stronger. But I do worry, Alice. I mean, sometimes I think, is there any hope? Do you still have hope?
I don't think I'm allowed to have hope. We're living in the self-selected, algorithmically designated information equivalent of a propaganda state, and every resistance that I've ever seen is weaker
Auto
than
drive
British
now
power.
disabled.
I feel like hope is an expensive thing to buy these days.
I mean, is it all totally pointless? What we do? I mean, it can feel pointless, but then again, I've spent almost all of my life doing pointless things like watching sport, thinking about sport, thinking about watching sport, learning French and hoping for a better future. All completely pointless. But yeah, I've done them, so we might as well carry on. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Yes, I think there is. Unfortunately, what is that light? Is it an oncoming train? Well, no, it couldn't be. Obviously, that train would be late or cancelled. Is the light at the end of the tunnel a burning effigy of the concept of hope? Quite possibly. Is it the soul of Sky Larson imploding into its own vacuum? May well be that. Is it the ego of Nigel Cass that is now so big that it's sucked all the light in the universe into itself? I think that it is most likely is that, but we'll never give up, Bug fans. This resistance will never die. And one day, we will again be free. Free from these technological chains, free to choose our own futures, free to live our own lives, free to waste our time watching people play games and dance badly again. Those were the days. Over and out. Before we go, time for a quick bug off. I'm going to nominate this week Sky Larson here at the Bug. We are all in favour of strong, powerful women. And in many ways, Sky is the ultimate feminist icon, proving that women can do just as abominably awful things to this planet as men. I mean, overall, Alice, I think we're still ahead as men, but you're not catching up. Fair play to you. You are listening to The Bug.
Market dips, shares roller coasters, cryptocurrency. There are those who like to speculate to accumulate, and those who just want to make sure their money is safe. Lane Bank has been offering loans, savings and mortgages since we were founded in 1867. That's why we're sticking with the pound. Only legal citizens, only the pound, only you. Lane Bank, because we know you're banking on us.
Hey, you better have a damn good excuse. Not to say?
This is London Calling. You're here with me, Tash, and Buccaneer, your source for what they don't want you to know. In today's world, we've all had to get used to our every move being tracked by the optic on our temples, by the cameras around us, and with every click we make online. Seems like everything we do feeds the big data beast. Why are data giants like Blue so hungry to get hold of our private information and our metadata? What are they using it for? Will we ever have real private lives again? What is privacy in the digital world? And what happens when capitalism and surveillance become one? As you know, we keep all names confidential on Buccaneer. Speaking from a secure location, here's new technology strategist Charles, who works all over the world trying to keep democracy strong in the face of the data assault.
If you have enough personal data on somebody, you're able to predict what it is that they're going to do. You can tell what they might be passionate about, but mostly you can tell what they fear. And if you can tell what someone fears, then you can manipulate them and you can move them in particular directions. Data is collected on citizens in every possible way. Data is collected from surveillance cameras. Data is collected from television sets. They don't even necessarily need to be super smart television sets. Data is collected from voter records. It's collected from how much power you use in your house.
Control to all units. Possible hostiles near your location.
Received. Let's keep this by the book. Over.
All local units. The suspect is on a boat. Negative. No sign of suspect. Over.
No visual of target. Ending pursuit. Over.
Auto drive is not available.
Dead sick, aren't you? What? No, I'm just walking. Ooh.
I'm not running like a lunatic. You're the fucking lunatic.
Fuck you, what? Oh, what are you talking about? Oh, no. Now that's cute.
Didn't do shit.
I think you know exactly.
Not sticking my nose where it doesn't belong.
Shove your teeth down your throat. So help.
They're gonna push you around. No.
Hey, you.
Retreated into the background into a state we've got now where it's essentially gone. Having this access to this data makes huge tech companies like Bloom so much more powerful than they would be otherwise, and not just in the obvious ways. Of course, there's a lot of worry and fear over what they can do with the data. They can track anyone, find anyone, see what every individual is doing at any point in time. But I think there's even deeper reasons why this data empowers these huge companies to control our society and make us do things. So lots of predictive technologies which are implemented by these tech giants. It's not only interested in knowing what we're going to do, but influencing the patterns of our movements. So technologies might suggest...
If you're feeling out of your depth or like you could use a breather, you can always call on your new teammates to step in. It's your call.
That's the advantage of working together instead. Alone.
I'm here.
In theory, the AR reconstruction should allow me to use various sources of surveillance data to rebuild past events. Access a data relay, and I can scrape all the metadata for this area. That's it. Now, let's take this autocratic wet dream for a test drive.
Somebody get out!
CTOS AR. Data reconstruction in progress.
It's almost as if you're raising digital specters for the city.
You're right. We definitely need this extremely cool thing I want for investigating Zero Day. Shit! For some reason I can't clone it to our servers. All right, access the network here, and let's see if we can't find out where to nick one. Located the CTOS hub. Aha! The SIRS has deployed this technology at their HQ, and I've just nabbed their manual on how to set up the system. Now, Scarper, you can't steal their toy if they throw you in the gulag.
Bobby, how can we get you this AR reconstruction tech?
The program is hosted on a server that's on the roof of SIRS HQ. All you have to do is grab the whole thing, then take it to a few high-density locations so I can recalibrate it to the DedSet network and clone my own version.
You have a plan to get the server off the roof?
We need to find someone with access to a cargo or construction drone that can fly it off of there. Perfect opportunity to recruit a heavy lifter to the cause, I'd say.
Got any idea where I might find this heavy lifter, Bagley?
Well, let's put our thinking caps on, shall we? Now, who in London would have access to a construction drone? Could it be a
Obviously, Bagley.
Not so hard, was it? There's an active construction yard nearby. I dare say you'll probably be able to find a construction worker to recruit there. Here's the coordinates.
Hello, Bugs. This is the Bug. I'm Andy. This is Alice, and today we're going to be pretending that everything is fine.
Auto drive now enabled.
Yeah, and back. Yeah, that was fun, wasn't it? That was as long as I could manage.
Auto drive now disabled.
And, well, finally today, we're going to road test the latest update to the CSA app, the government app that has brought the great British tradition of snitching on people you don't like back to the very heart of public life, the school playground. I'm going to tell a new threat that's got a whole new lease of life these days, thanks to CSA. And here's in Britain all the more fun because of it. No more grumbling about your neighbours playing their music too loud, just simply report them to the state and have them, shall we say, involuntarily rehoused at Hotel Cass, the chain of hotels that was formerly known as the prison service. What was the slogan? Is it, if you see something, say something, or if you think you might at some point see something, say something, or if you haven't seen anything, think, but don't like someone, say something anyway. Well, let's have a look at this new app.
Auto drive now enabled.
On your phone. I mean, at first glance, well, the interface is lovely. It's so neatly designed. A simple button to snitch on someone. That's so much better than non-government informer apps like Stool-Easy, Canary, or Narcshark. I mean, look, I just need to geocache where the person I'm ratting on currently is. Let's call her, for the sake of argument, Alice.
Sorry, Andy, I was busy reporting.
Auto drive now disabled.
Rolling your eyes when passing a Nigel cat. Propaganda poster?
Could you not let me report you first, please? Let's have some decorum about it.
I'll just take this little photo so I can get a drone to pick you out of the crowd at your next riot or pick at the shop in the woods.
You need to find a construction worker. They don't have access to a heavy cargo drone.
They don't quite fit the bill. Maybe another time.
Come on, not now.
They don't quite fit the bill. Maybe another time.
You need to find a construction worker. They don't have access to a heavy cargo drone.
They don't quite fit the bill. Maybe another time.
You need to find a construction worker. They don't have access to a heavy cargo drone. Occupation? Check. Drone? Check. This could be the one.
I mean, I love this system, Alice, and no more awkward rumbling resentment with your neighbours, your colleagues, or entertaining your family. You just drop them in and be done with it. But if it could backfire...
Fine. I mean, the thing is with a family, inevitably parents and their children, they end up squabbling, and, today's Britain, your kids are going to dob you in, so you might as well get in there first and preemptively counter-dob them in.
You don't strike me as the kind of person who waits for someone to come save them. You're ready to fight for freedom.
Hey, you're dead sick, aren't you? Great timing. I need a hand with something.
That's what we're here for. What's going on?
Right, okay. So I went to the Kellys for some money problems. Worst mistake I've ever made. Now I'm basically their slave until I pay off my debt. Could you help me get out of this mess?
All right. Leave it with us.
Well, before we go,
Clan Kelly will bleed our new friend dry if we don't do something. This particular construction site is a money laundering front for a Kelly chapter out of Camden Market. Any record of the debt would be stored there.
Copy.
I don't know quite what it is. If it's the new colour scheme...
Auto drive now
or if it's
enabled.
just that it symbolises the loss of everything we once held dear. But that flag irritates the hell out of me.
Was everything you ever held dear Scotland?
Well, that was something I held quite dear.
I miss being able to dodge my friends' destination weddings in Italy. There's nothing worse than being asked to spend the equivalent of a motorbike on some sort of boat-based farce in Sorrento. And I always used to really enjoy saying, oh no, I can't afford it. Now they're all getting married in Brighton and I have to go to that alleged beach. It's made of rocks, Andy. If your sandcastle is an actual castle, that's not a beach.
I'll tell you what I miss. I miss free will. That was fun. Remember that? I mean, was it an illusion all the time? Who cares? It felt fun. I miss cash, particularly coins. I really miss coins. The fun of doing a heads or tails best of 5 to see if you had to go to the gym, and then the best of 7, and a best of 9, until you won. That was losing streak. Now with crypto, all the romance has gone out of heads and tails.
I miss romance, Andy. I miss there being mystery in life and not just a hope that your new partner isn't good enough at hacking to find out all the information the government has on you.
Bye for now, Bug fans. Keep feeding the kitten of resistance, and one day it will grow into a Tyrannosaurus Rex that will use the Cass family as toothpicks, metaphorically, of course.
Cream and spice and all things nice. That's what little treats are made of. Sanjoli's Kitchen. Voted best...
Good Lord. Clan Kelly has the whole entire market under control. When did that operation get so big?
You're looking for a terminal or some kind of device that Clan Kelly would have stored the debt records
Auto drive
on.
now disabled.
Talking about the Optic and how it's changed our lives. Now, as you remember, Bloom announced a new version of the Optic at the recent Tone conference, but we haven't heard too much about that since due to the dramatic events there. Let's cast our minds back and consider the technology. I mean, the Optic changed everything. It lets you see things in AR. You no longer need a smartphone. You just have a small implant that sends signals to your optic nerve and lets you see your emails, take calls, and browse the internet directly as if the screen was in front of your eyes. Instead of having to carry around a phone, you've just got the small handheld unit. So much lighter and so much more convenient. It's great.
Vicky, you sound like you absolutely love the Optic. Do you actually think that it's made our lives any better?
I mean, sure, it's definitely made things a lot easier. It's so simple to call someone now. All you have to do is choose who you want to chat to, and they're there, ready to talk. And browsing the web is so much easier. I remember when you used to have to sit down and...
Don't have the right tool for the job? You can exchange your gadget for a different one that's better suited to the situation.
Public transport with the option.
I'm happy another person has woken up and wants to do the right thing.
Fuck yeah. Let's cause a fuss, shall we?
Fantastic.
Moving to the hostile's location.
You can just walk straight onto the tube. It even acts as a passport. No longer do I have to dig around and try and find my old paper passport just to travel somewhere. Also, I thought that Optic's marketing strategy, making it free for people, was a stroke of genius.
Genius. Bloom was really calculated when it was doing that. It was pushing this draconian device on us at all. Sure, everybody flocked to it. There was free Wi-Fi and phone plans. That definitely helped, but it wasn't a case of this is a product that you need in your life.
Why do you hate it so much?
It's just the worst because you have to give up your privacy expectations and accept surveillance. It was almost like the government and Bloom didn't even need to make... the optic mandatory. Making it mandatory was only to get the last holdouts across the line. If free data didn't convince you, fines and arrests from the state for not having the optic would pretty much be enough.
I mean, what do you mean by privacy problems? No one really talks about that anymore.
They don't talk about it because we don't have any choice when it comes to the optic. Yes, it's convenient and mandatory, but everybody's forgotten what it really means. Here, you've got a whole company owning basically all the data about your life. Bloom can see everything that you can see. Nothing is private anymore. There are so many times when I don't want anyone to have a clue about where I am, who I'm chatting with, what I'm doing. It's not even dodgy stuff, but I just don't want anybody to blackmail with me with this in the future. And because of Bloom's contracts with the government, it isn't just Bloom that can see everything I do, it's the government. The UK as a state has become a complete surveillance.
You've got your cell, now it's time for a little test drive.
Great. I've got a little errand for you. A copper had a few too many in the pub last week and blabbed up and down about this.
Who the shit fuck is this?
Did Bagley not mention me? Honestly. My name's Connie, but some of your lot just call me the proprietor. I run the pub on top of that safe house over by Parliament.
Alright, we're cool then. My bad, I'm new to all this and...
Yeah, jitters. It's all right. Come around later and we'll meet properly. Now it's time for your first mission. Bagley will push you the details.
We could always use more intel. Good thing you have me. And I have located a captain that has exactly what we need.
Ta, Bagsy.
Control, I'm ready to immobilize the target.
You're in. Now find the thing. That's the target. Should be hackable. Transfer complete. I'll get to work crunching this data for you. You did all right, I suppose.
The economy was your job to protect!
Operation complete. Update your dating profiles because you can now officially call yourself a DedSec operative.
You got yourself a proper resistance cell now. Come on back round the pub when you're ready. I like to meet everybody at least once.
Auto drive now enabled.